All right, so first things first, let's do drums. So fortunately, drums are already bussed together. So we have that, but let's go and do the individual drums themselves. But here's our drum bus. So the first thing, let's start with the kick. I'm going to bring up an EQ. Once again, I'm going to use equilibrium. And there's a little bit of a knock. That, I want to take that out. There, that sounds pretty good to me. I'm also going to pull up one of these, the VMR, because I really like what the API this EQ does to low end. So if I set it to, say, 30, it's round, it's nice. Yeah, I like just adding +2. Then I'm going to add actually a dynamic EQ. I'm going to use that same Kirchhoff to do this, just to kind of, well, it's going to do two things. First, on the very lows, I'm just going to high pass it. And I'll do a sharp one, but probably at like 20. But you can see, right, the fundamental is really around 40, just about 40, 50. So I'll cut it right there. There's not a ton in here, but what I'm going to do is then hit the dynamics mode in this and turn it just to duck out that low mid area just a little bit. Before, after. It's a little bit tighter, and you know what, that same pop, I'm actually going to put a dynamic on that too. So there it is. So then hit the dynamic. And the attack. There we go. That would let it through. Just adjusting the amount. Great. I am also going to expand the amount of inserts I can see and re-enable that filter. Maybe I'll just put a saturator at the end too, just to really fatten it, and I'll just use Newfangled Saturate again, because it's so good. And also, I'm going to manually set my output, because I just want to clip it. That's too much for me. Before, after. It really just gives it a little bit extra. And I like the soft clip on that. So that's pretty good. Now, this is important. This is going to be a big thing to do with our low end. So I'm just going to go to our FM8 sub here and our kick. So we could sidechain it. I'm going to do something different and better. I'm going to actually manually automate the fades directly in. So every time there's that kick, I'm going to basically literally take all the audio out and fade it back in, which is going to make this so much smoother. And this is relatively easy to do because it's 4 on the floor, so you know exactly where the kick is every time. It's really convenient. So here is the difference, and also I like curving it a little bit because the tail of the kick is, you know, you can see it's pretty exponent or logarithmic, so I want an exponential curve of a fade in because that's the inverse of the logarithmic curve, if that makes sense. So here you're going to hear the difference of it being faded in and then not. So when you fade it in, it's much smoother. And so I'm just going to basically copy and paste that until we get a chord change, which is where. So that's the chord change right there.